decades of hard work and responsibility, travel should be one of the greatest rewards of your golden years. The freedom to finally explore those bucket list destinations, the wisdom to truly appreciate different cultures, the time to savor new experiences without rushing back to work. These are the privileges you've earned. But for the more than 15 million Americans over 65 living with diabetes, travel presents unique challenges that can seem overwhelming. Managing blood sugar while navigating time zone changes, unfamiliar foods, disrupted routines, and varied activity levels requires thoughtful planning and strategic preparation. Today, I'm sharing the comprehensive diabetes travel system developed by endocrinologists, certified diabetes educators, and experienced senior travelers. This isn't basic advice like pack extra supplies. This is a sophisticated approach that addresses the complex realities of managing diabetes across continents, time zones, and unexpected travel situations. What you'll learn today has helped thousands of senior travelers with diabetes explore the world confidently. From Antarctic cruises to African safaris, from European river journeys to Asian cultural explorations. Because diabetes shouldn't keep you from experiencing the richness of world travel that you've waited a lifetime to enjoy. Let me begin with an essential truth. Travel with diabetes after 70 is absolutely possible and can be deeply rewarding. But it requires a different approach than travel in your younger years or travel without diabetes. The carefully calibrated balance you've established at home, your medication routine, eating patterns, activity level, stress management, will be disrupted by the travel. This disruption creates both challenges and opportunities. The challenge lies in maintaining stable blood sugar during change. The opportunity comes in developing resilience and adaptability in your diabetes management. The comprehensive approach we'll explore today addresses 6 critical dimensions of diabetes travel management: pre-travel medical optimization, strategic supply planning, transportation considerations, daily management abroad, nutritional navigation, and emergency preparedness. Together, these create a safety net that allows you to focus on enjoying your travels rather than worrying about your diabetes. 1. Pre-travel medical optimization. Creating your strongest foundation. Successful travel with diabetes begins long before you pack your bags. Ideally, schedule a comprehensive pre-travel appointment with your healthcare team 2 to 3 months before departure. This timeline allows for medication adjustments, additional testing if needed, and time to practice any new management techniques. This appointment should be more detailed than your regular diabetes checkup. Bring your complete itinerary, including exact travel dates and times, destinations with expected climate conditions, altitude of locations, particularly important for glucose monitoring accuracy, anticipated activity levels compared to your normal routine, types of cuisine you'll likely encounter, accommodations to assess refrigeration access for insulin. What many seniors don't realize is that this appointment serves 2 crucial purposes: immediate preparation and establishing a baseline. By documenting your current health status, medication regimen, and typical blood sugar patterns, you create a reference point that becomes invaluable if you need medical assistance abroad. During this appointment, work with your healthcare provider to develop specific plans for time zone adjustments, for complex itineraries, crossing multiple time zones. A detailed medication transition plan is essential. Different diabetes medications require different approaches. Insulin timing may need careful adjustment, while some oral medications might maintain their usual interval regardless of local time. Medication adjustments for anticipated activities. If your trip involves more walking than usual, high-altitude locations, or significant climate differences, your medication needs may change. Many travelers benefit from temporary adjustments to insulin sensitivity factors or temporary reductions in certain medications. Monitoring frequency modifications. Most diabetes specialists recommend increasing your monitoring frequency while traveling, particularly during the first few days of adjustment. Understand what patterns would indicate a need for intervention and which fluctuations might be normal travel adjustments. Sick day planning. Travel increases exposure to different environments and potential illnesses. A specific sick day protocol for travel should address what medications to continue or adjust if you become ill, how often to check blood sugar and ketones, and clear thresholds for seeking medical attention abroad. Request 2 critical documents from this appointment. First, a comprehensive diabetes travel letter that includes your complete diagnosis, specific type of diabetes, all prescribed medications with both brand and generic names, your typical blood sugar targets and acceptable ranges, required diabetes supplies and their medical necessity, emergency contact information for your healthcare provider, authorization for you to carry all necessary diabetes supplies. Second, ask for a backup prescription set, written prescriptions, not just electronic ones, for all diabetes medications and supplies using generic names. These become invaluable if supplies are lost or damaged, or if your stay is unexpectedly extended. 2. Strategic supply planning, beyond the basics. The common advice to bring twice as much diabetes supplies as you need is actually insufficient for senior travellers. Age-related considerations and the increased complexity of international travel demand a more nuanced approach. Experienced diabetes travellers follow what endocrinologists call the triple preparation method. First, calculate your base needs, the exact insulin, medication, testing supplies, and other essentials needed for each day of travel. Second, add a primary buffer, an additional 100% of supplies, double your needs, carried in separate containers and locations. This isn't excessive. It accounts for realistic scenarios like broken equipment, extreme temperature exposure that damages insulin, or lost supplies. Third, create a secondary contingency, a strategy for obtaining emergency supplies at your destination if needed. This might include researching pharmacy access at your destination, international mail order options for diabetes supplies, or connecting with diabetes organisations in the countries you'll visit. For insulin-dependent travellers, supply management becomes even more critical. Consider these specialised approaches. The temperature protection system. Insulin loses efficacy when exposed to extreme temperatures. While travelling, use appropriate cooling cases for hot climates and protection from freezing in cold environments. The Frio cooling case, which activates with water and requires no refrigeration, is particularly valuable for senior travellers in warm destinations. For cold weather travel, keep insulin close to your body rather than in external bags that might reach freezing temperatures. The injection site rotation. Travel plan. Extended travel often disrupts normal injection site rotation patterns, which can affect insulin absorption. Create a visual map for site rotation during travel that accommodates clothing choices, climate considerations, and planned activities. For instance, if your itinerary includes significant swimming or hot weather activities, plan injection sites accordingly. The multiple daily injection. Backup. For insulin pump users, always carry supplies for a rapid transition to multiple daily injections if your pump fails. This includes long-acting insulin, even if you don't routinely use it, syringes or pens, and a written protocol for calculating injection doses based on your pump settings. For continuous glucose monitor, CGM users, special considerations include sensor adhesive supplements for different climates and activity levels, backup receiver or phone app configurations. Understanding how pressure changes during air travel might affect readings. Altitude adjustment factors for different destinations. 3. Transportation mastery, navigating the journey safely. The transportation phase of travel presents unique diabetes challenges, from security screening complications to blood sugar fluctuations during long flights. Successful management requires specific strategies for each mode of travel. Air travel optimization. During air travel, your diabetes supplies should always remain with you in your carry-on luggage, never in checked bags. But mere access isn't enough. Organisation becomes critical. Create what diabetes educators call a tier system for your in-flight diabetes management Tier 1. Your active travel kit contains supplies you'll need during the actual flight. Glucose meter, insulin for upcoming meals, glucose tablets, and snacks. This stays in the seat pocket or easily accessible bag. Tier 2. Your immediate backup includes additional supplies for 24-48 hours in a separate carry-on bag stored in the overhead compartment. Tier 3. Your extended supply contains the remainder of your diabetes supplies, also in carry-on luggage but perhaps less accessible during flight. For security screening, the Transportation Security Administration, TSA, allows all diabetes-related supplies through checkpoints, but proper presentation minimizes complications. Place all diabetes supplies together in a clear, separate bag. Declare these items to security officers before screening begins. Present your diabetes travel letter, explaining medical necessity. Request hand inspection of insulin or continuous glucose monitors, if concerned about equipment exposure to X-rays. For insulin pump users, inform security officers about your device before screening. You have the right to request alternative screening methods that don't require disconnecting your pump. If pressured to disconnect your pump against your wishes, ask to speak with a supervisor. In-flight blood sugar management. Long flights create several challenges for diabetes management. Disrupted meal timing, dehydration that affects blood sugar, limited movement that can increase insulin resistance, stress that may elevate glucose levels, pressure changes that can affect insulin delivery and glucose monitoring. The 5-hour rule offers guidance for long flights. Check your blood sugar at least every 5 hours during air travel, regardless of whether you're eating or taking medication. This catches trends before they become problematic. Experienced travellers also recommend setting alarms for critical medication times, adjusted for the time zone you departed from. Requesting diabetic meals 24 to 48 hours before your flight, though always carry backup food options. Drinking water consistently, aiming for 8 glasses every 2 hours while awake. Performing seated exercises hourly to improve circulation and insulin absorption. Cruise and train travel. Extended journeys by ship or train present different challenges. Multiple meal options that may complicate carbohydrate counting. Varying activity levels from day to day. Limited access to medical care between destinations. Potential refrigeration. Issues for insulin. For cruise travel, investigate medical facilities before booking. Most cruise lines have basic medical staff, but their familiarity with diabetes management varies dramatically. Some luxury lines now offer refrigeration services specifically for medications and coordination with diabetes specialists via satellite communication. For train journeys, particularly overnight routes, create a specialized evening medication plan. Train movement can affect sleep quality, which in turn influences morning blood sugar. Many experienced travelers adjust evening insulin or medication slightly to prevent nighttime hypoglycemia when sleeping in unfamiliar train accommodations. 4. Daily management and abroad, your flexible framework. Once you've reached your destination, implementing a resilient daily system becomes your priority. The key word here is flexible. Your diabetes management must adapt to changing circumstances while maintaining core principles. The most successful approach for senior travelers combines structure with adaptability through what diabetes educators call the anchor and adjust method. Anchors are the non-negotiable elements of your diabetes management that remain consistent regardless of location or activities. Blood glucose monitoring at specific intervals. Taking basal insulin or certain medications at established times. Carrying hypoglycemia treatment at all times. Checking feet. Daily for injury, particularly important when walking more than usual. Maintaining hydration standards. Adjustments are the flexible components that respond to changing circumstances. Meal timing and content based on local options. Activity-related medication changes. Temporary basal rate adjustments for insulin pump users. More frequent monitoring during novel activities. The advantage of this approach is psychological as well as physiological. It provides security through consistent anchors while allowing freedom through planned adjustments. For optimal daily management, implement these proven strategies. The morning assessment protocol. Begin each travel day with a comprehensive check that includes current blood glucose and trend if using CGM, review of the previous day's patterns, anticipated activities and their intensity, likely meal timing and options, weather conditions that might affect activity or insulin needs, any unusual symptoms or concerns. This morning assessment allows you to make proactive adjustments rather than reacting to problems after they develop. The Activity Intensity Adjustment Guide. Different types of tourism affect blood sugar in distinct ways. Museum and cultural tourism often involves sustained walking at moderate pace, which may gradually lower blood sugar. Adventure activities create adrenaline surges that can temporarily raise blood sugar, followed by significant drops. Relaxation-focused days might reduce your usual activity level, requiring medication adjustments. Create a personal reference guide for how different activities affect your specific diabetes management based on previous experience and your healthcare provider's guidance. The Environmental Impact Tracker. Environmental factors significantly influence diabetes management but are often overlooked by travellers. Monitor and adjust for temperature effects. Heat increases absorption of some insulins, while cold can decrease absorption. Humidity impacts on skin integrity for insulin pump and CGM adhesion. Altitude. Effects on both glucose meter accuracy and insulin requirements, sun exposure, which can increase insulin absorption at injection sites. The communication card system. Language barriers can complicate diabetes management in emergencies. Create simple communication cards in local languages with phrases like, "I have diabetes and need sugar/juice immediately. I use insulin and need help. Please call emergency medical services. I am not intoxicated. I am having low blood sugar." These cards, when combined with the universal diabetes symbol, a blue circle, can expedite assistance when needed. 5. Nutritional navigation. Beyond carbohydrate. Counting managing nutrition while exploring new cuisines requires more sophisticated approaches than basic carbohydrate counting. For senior travellers with diabetes, the goal is balancing culinary exploration with glycemic stability. The Discovery Without Disruption method allows you to embrace new food experiences while maintaining blood sugar control. The meal mapping technique. For each new cuisine you'll encounter, research typical ingredients, cooking methods, and carbohydrate components before your trip. Create a personal reference guide with approximations of carbohydrate content and potential hidden ingredients that might affect blood sugar. The plate balancing strategy. When faced with unfamiliar foods where carbohydrate content is difficult to estimate, use the visual balancing method. Fill half your plate with non-starchy vegetables, 1/4 with protein and 1/4 with carbohydrates. This provides a reasonable framework even when exact counting is impossible. The strategic sampling approach. To experience diverse cuisines without glucose spikes, use the taste, don't feast principle for unfamiliar carbohydrate-rich foods. Sample small portions of multiple dishes rather than consuming full servings, pairing these tastings with protein and fat to moderate glucose impact. The Restaurant Communication Plan. Develop key phrases in local languages to communicate dietary needs. Rather than focusing on diabetic diet, which means different things globally, request specific modifications. Please serve sauce as dressing on the side. No additional sugar, please. Is this dish prepared with hidden sugars? Can this be prepared with less oil butter? The trend monitoring. Intensification. When exploring new cuisines, increase monitoring frequency to identify how specific foods affect your blood sugar. This creates valuable data for adjusting future meals in that region. Many travellers find that certain international cuisines are particularly well suited for diabetes management. Mediterranean diets, emphasizing olive oil, fish, vegetables, and moderate carbohydrates. Japanese traditions featuring small portions, fish, vegetables, and moderate rice servings. Traditional, not Americanized, Mexican cuisine with beans, vegetables, and corn rather than flour tortillas. South Indian preparations using lentils, vegetables, and fermented components that moderate glycemic impact. 6. Emergency preparedness. Your international safety net. Even with perfect planning, diabetes emergencies can occur during travel. Creating a comprehensive emergency response system is your ultimate safety net. The Travel Emergency Protocol provides a framework for handling diabetes crises abroad. T. Test. Increase monitoring frequency at the first sign of any unusual symptoms. Always check blood sugar before assuming symptoms are due to other causes like fatigue or infection. R. Resources. Maintain an updated list of diabetes-specific medical resources at each destination, including hospitals with endocrinology departments, English-speaking physicians, pharmacies that stock diabetes supplies, your country's embassy or consulate contact information. A. Assistance. Identify who can help during an emergency. Travel companions familiar with your diabetes management, tour guides, or hotel staff who can translate or arrange transportation. International emergency medical assistance provided by travel insurance, diabetes organisations in your destination country. 5. Vigilance. Know the specific symptoms requiring immediate attention. Signs of diabetic ketoacidosis, fruity breath, abdominal pain, vomiting, fatigue. Severe hypoglycemia that doesn't respond to usual treatment. Infections, particularly foot injuries that worsen rapidly. Dehydration symptoms which can escalate quickly in seniors with diabetes. E. Equipment. Maintain an emergency supply kit containing glucagon for severe hypoglycemia. Train travel companions in its use. Ketone testing supplies, simple instruction card for emergency responders. Backup prescriptions and diabetes documentation. Contact information for your healthcare team at home. L. Language. Prepare essential diabetes-related phrases in local languages, focusing on emergency communication rather than complex explanations. For travellers using insulin, the emergency kit should also include syringes and insulin vials, even if you normally use pens or pumps. Long-acting insulin, even for pump users who don't routinely use it. Alcohol swabs and backup injection sites. Guide. International travel insurance with specific diabetes coverage is non-negotiable for travellers over 70. This specialised coverage should include medical evacuation services with diabetes expertise, coverage for pre-existing conditions without waiting periods, direct payment to foreign hospitals, avoiding out-of-pocket expenses, replacement of lost or damaged diabetes supplies. Virtual consultation with diabetes specialists. Managing diabetes while travelling internationally after 70 presents complex challenges that require sophisticated solutions. The approach I've outlined today addresses the physiological, logistical, and psychological dimensions of diabetes travel management. What many seniors with diabetes don't realise is that the very nature of travel itself affects blood sugar patterns through multiple mechanisms. Stress hormones from both positive excitement and travel anxiety, circadian rhythm, disruption from time zone changes, altered gut function from dietary changes, modified metabolism from different activity patterns, immune system, activation from exposure to new environments. These factors create a complex interplay that requires more than just taking your usual medications and watching your diet. They demand a comprehensive system that anticipates challenges rather than merely reacting to them. The system I've shared, pre-travel optimization, strategic supply planning, transportation mastery, daily management frameworks, nutritional navigation, and emergency preparedness, creates redundant layers of protection. If one system fails, another catches the problem before it becomes serious. Final resolution. The ultimate goal of effective diabetes management while travelling isn't just avoiding problems, it's creating the foundation for truly rewarding travel experiences. When your health needs are systematically addressed, you can focus on the cultural discoveries, beautiful landscapes, and memorable moments that make travel worthwhile. Consider the perspective of Dr. James Hirsch, endocrinologist and author of Diabetes Abroad. Many of my senior patients return from international travel with better diabetes control than when they left. The focused attention they give their diabetes during travel creates insights and habits that persist long after the trip ends. Remember that proper diabetes management while traveling isn't just about maintaining your current health, it's about protecting your ability to continue traveling for years to come. Each successfully managed trip builds confidence for the next adventure, creating a positive cycle of exploration and discovery. Beyond the practical aspects of diabetes management, international travel affects the psychological aspects of living with a chronic condition. Many seniors report that successfully managing diabetes abroad creates a profound sense of accomplishment and confidence that transcends the travel experience itself. Psychologist Dr. Susan Guzman, specialist in diabetes-related psychological issues, explains, "When someone with diabetes navigates an international trip successfully, they prove to themselves that they can handle uncertainty and challenge. This resilience often translates to other areas of diabetes management and life in general. This psychological benefit represents a unique value of travel with diabetes that goes unrecognized in most discussions. Each successfully managed meal in a foreign restaurant, each properly adjusted insulin dose for a novel activity, each smoothly handled time zone transition builds self-efficacy, the belief in your ability to handle whatever comes next. Finally, consider that your diabetes can actually enhance certain travel experiences rather than limiting them. When you engage with local food providers, explain your needs, and share your diabetes experience, you often create meaningful cultural exchanges that other tourists miss. The act of discussing your dietary needs with a chef in Barcelona, finding diabetes supplies in a pharmacy in Bangkok, or connecting with a diabetes support group in Sydney creates authentic, local interactions beyond typical tourist experiences. This perspective shift, viewing diabetes not as a limitation, but as a unique lens through which you experience the world, represents perhaps the most valuable insight for senior travellers with diabetes, that the very condition you work to manage can sometimes be the bridge to the most meaningful travel moments of all. As we conclude today's guide to travelling with diabetes after 70, I hope you feel empowered rather than overwhelmed. The strategies we've explored are comprehensive, but each element serves an important purpose in protecting your health while travelling. Your diabetes shouldn't define where you can go or what you can experience. With thoughtful preparation and strategic management, the world remains open to you. From the temples of Kyoto to the piazzas of Rome. From the wildlife of the Galapagos to the fjords of Norway. If you found this information valuable, please take a moment to like this video and share it with others in the diabetes community who love to travel. Subscribe to our channel for more content specifically designed for vibrant, adventurous living with diabetes in your senior years. Safe and healthy travels to you all.